morning, everybody. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to City Hall, welcome to Council Chambers, and welcome to a meeting of the Los Angeles City Council for today, Friday, October 3rd, 2003. I'd like to call this meeting to order. The City Council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Meetings are open to the public, and we do invite you to join us. For members of the public unable to attend council meetings, we can be viewed live on your cable station, Channel 35. We can also be viewed live via webcast from the city's homepage or heard via council phone. It is nearly 10:20 a.m. We have 8 members present, 2 shy of a quorum, but this being Friday, as is customary, we have a number of special presentations and introductions to be made. I'd like to begin this meeting by recognizing Councilmember Cindy Misikowski.
Good morning, Mr. President. As many of my colleagues know, we've had a morning celebrating and recognizing a number of people who are sitting here filling these roles, fulfilling these places of sitting down, but also fill the role daily in providing domestic violence awareness, domestic violence service, first responding to our victims who are crying out for help, and not only responding initially to remove the perpetrator and deal with the issue of violence, but then also to be the bridge to turn over and give assistance to some of the victims of domestic violence, to the other kinds of agencies within the city, in the nonprofit sector, the service providers who can provide all the assistance laterally to the victims of violence, as well as the city attorney who is involved in vertical prosecution and making sure that the city attorney and the officers and the victims are all assisted through prosecution to culminate in the permanent removal of violators from the scene where they are creating havoc. This is the beginning of October, and that is nationally Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The City of Los Angeles has been participating and in the forefront is a leader in domestic violence awareness, and its first leadership was shown by the Los Angeles Police Department many, many years ago, who realized that to create and end the cycle of violence, it was the LAPD, the first who became aware of it, the first who were going to respond, the first to say we need to bring in other venues, other people, other assistance, so that, as I say, beyond that first response, there is continuing ongoing support and networking to provide this to the victims. We have here today, as you can see, a number of officers of the Los Angeles Police Department, many of whom have received, because they have been doing this for a number of years, recognition specifically by the City Council. We have a number of other officers who have first now been assigned for this last year to the domestic violence units in each of our respective Los Angeles Police Divisions, and will be receiving a specific certificate of recognition today. And I would like to indicate that we will give the certificates out in the back room and allow those to want to have pictures taken. But what the certificate is recognizing the outstanding efforts on behalf of the victims of domestic violence in the City of Los Angeles. Each of you have demonstrated sensitivity and understanding which goes beyond the normal call of duty. The Los Angeles City Council, the Los Angeles Police Department, and the Los Angeles City Domestic Violence Task Force commend each of you for your dedication in assisting domestic violence victims and increasing the safety of our community, particularly for those most in need. This will be presented to you later, but I would like at this point to have all of the officers who have been providing this service, who are going to be receiving this recognition, that is all of you, to please stand and be received by the Los Angeles City Council. Members, for those who were able to stay to the program, we heard some of the survivors the people who have received this assistance, who are singling out the individuals who in each case providing them with that safety net, providing them with the fortitude and the courage to know that when they came forward, there was help, they were able to change and save their lives, but they recognized these people who just stood before you as the saviors of their lives, and so we are very, very honored to have them here today. Additionally, I would like to present a resolution to our Domestic Violence Task Force. The City of Los Angeles has an incredible group of volunteers, many of whom have participated for many years in this task force, not only as task force members, but I would say a great number of the members of the task force are also providers, the service providers who are participating in the domestic abuse response teams, known as DART, who are participating in the specific social service providers offering shelter, offering assistance of all sorts of natures to remove and give shelter to the people who need to be removed and taken away from the place where the violence occurs, need security, need privacy, and need all of that assistance, money, clothes, help for children with school, help for finding jobs. That's what our service providers do, and that's where the Domestic Violence Task Force helps to assist in making those connections. And as she has been for many, many years, let me present this and thanking them for that work that they do and being this bridge after LAPD has first responded, to Carol Adikoff, the chair of the city's Domestic Violence Task Force. Carol.
Councilwoman, we are so grateful, and we are such a good team here in this city. It's my favorite day of the year that we're here honoring the fabulous police officers of this fabulous city, recognizing you as a council. I believe every signature on here was put on here in the most earnest of ways. I really do. And we so appreciate that. The city attorney's office for that fine, fine work that is done, all of the advocates in the field representing many, many organizations, DART teams, shelters, counseling centers, job training programs, you name it, in every other department of the city of Los Angeles. This is a problem that can only be dealt with as a partnership, and we know we've got it. Thank you so much.
And we would also like to recognize today a very, very special partner. We had him join us earlier this morning, and that is the City Attorney Rocky Delgadillo, and in particular, the City Attorney Domestic Violence Prosecution Unit. It is composed of a supervisor, Laura Bloomquist, has 17 attorneys, 4 investigators, and 6 victim advocates who are working at that unit, again, providing the partnership, providing the leadership. And I would like Maureen Siegel, the Senior Assistant of the Criminal Division, to receive the resolution in recognition that the City Council wants to specifically recognize the work of this unit. We did learn then, and actually Mayor Hahn announced Wednesday that we got specific grant to help the city attorney's unit get the restraining orders and enforce the restraining orders, which sometimes is, again, another tool, one of the most critical tools to really save lives and ensure that the victims of abuse, the spouses and the children really are protected, and the city attorney is going to continue doing that very, very fine work. So let me present at this time on behalf of the City Council to Maureen Siegel the resolution and recognition of the City Attorney's Domestic Violence Unit. Maureen.
Thank you. On behalf of City Attorney Rocky Delgadillo, it is my sincere honor to accept this acknowledgement on behalf of a profoundly talented and dedicated group of men and women who staff our Domestic Violence Vertical Prosecution Unit. Laura Bloomquist, who is the supervising deputy of that unit, would you rise along with the representatives of the unit who are present? Thank you. I think it's important for us to see our heroes in person, and I thank you for acknowledging their long efforts in the struggle really to end domestic violence in the city. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you all.
And finally, let me ask Chief McMurray to come forward and speak on behalf of all of the officers who are here today who provide this work. As I say, as was indicated, we recognize this once a month in that awareness, but these folks are aware of it every day, provide that service day in, day out, nighttime, and we use the word first responders perhaps because it's become a nice term to use, but it really is meaningful what the work that these folks do, the recognition that they give to these victims, the awareness that they have about the scenes of the crime and how they need to go in and intervene and truly day in and day out save lives. Chief McMurray.
Thank you. Good morning. It's my pleasure to represent the men and women of the Los Angeles Police Department who serve the people in this domestic violence arena. I've been involved in this field for many years, and the growth, the progress that we made has been phenomenal. But it's been a team effort. We've been served very well by the outside service providers. Matter of fact, they came to us. They caused us to change our way of doing business, and those partnerships have developed into some incredible, strong relationships that bring us all here today. The City Council, the City Attorney's Office, the District Attorney's Office have all developed long-standing relationships that are never going to end, and I think the domestic violence community is one of the most fantastic groups I've ever worked with, and exceptionally rewarding personally. But I know every one of the officers who works out there at night responding to these calls is a hero, and it's my pleasure to accept the documents for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief McMurray. Thank you, members of the council. And we will all go out to the back room where we will individually award the officers this recognition. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Misikowski. Mr. Garcetti.
Briefly, I know we said this outside too, and I want to congratulate all the officers, but I was especially proud, and I know Mr. Labange mentioned it, that 12 of the 37 officers are from the Hollywood division, so keep up the great work there.
Mr. Garcetti said, thank you very, very much for all of you do, especially our city attorneys, in completing the whole effort there. And thank you, David Lott.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Colleagues, we do have 11 members present. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Cardenas, Garcetti, Gruel, Hahn, Labange, Ludlow, Miskowski, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Smith, Villaraigosa, Weiss, Zine, Padilla. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. And colleagues, I know we have still a number of presentations to conduct today, but we do have quite a few items which I believe can be approved on consent. Unless there's an objection, let's sweep through the agenda, dispense with consent items, and then return to the presentations. Mr. Clerk, first order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Ms. Perry moves. Mr. Garcetti seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Zine moves, and Mr. Villaraigosa seconds.
On the regular agenda, items 1 through 6 are items noticed for public hearing. Council should deny the protest on items 2, 3, 4, and 5 and confirm the assessments.
Okay. Colleagues, items 1 through 6 now before us, and I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council on these matters. We shall therefore deem the public hearings opened and closed. Are there members wishing to call any specials? Items 1 through 6. Items 1 through 6, seeing none. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those being ordinances do carry over for a second reading. Next items, please.
Items 7 through 9 are the commission appointments. Do you wish to hold these on the desk at this time?
Let's hold commission appointments on the desk temporarily, but we'll return to these before considering items called special. Next item, please.
Items 10 through 29 are items for which public hearings have been held. On items 19 and 20, public hearings were held in the Housing, Community, and Economic Development Committee, and those reports with recommendations have been distributed to all members. Also on items 21 and 22, public hearings were held in the Personnel Committee, and those report and recommendations have also been distributed to members.
Okay. Colleagues, 10 through 29 now before us. Public hearings have been held on these items. A motion from the floor would be required to reopen the public hearings. Seeing no such motion, are there any specials? Mr. Garcetti?
Yes, number 18 for Mr. Ludlow.
For Mr. Ludlow, we'll call item 18 special. Mr. Labange.
Number 16, 16.
Number 16, call special by Mr. Labange. Any other specials? Any other specials? Seeing none on the balance of the items, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
Those are approved. Items 10 through 15 are ordinances and do carry over for a second reading.
Those were second read ordinances, Mr. President.
Then those are approved on second reading. Next item.
Items 30 through 50 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Without objection, these items are before us today. Colleagues, on items 30 through 50, I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council. Public hearings are open. Public hearings are closed. Any specials on these items? Items 30 through 50? Any requests for specials? Mr. Cardenas?
Item 50, special?
5-0.
5-0.
Item 50, call special by Mr. Cardenas. Any other specials? Seeing none on the balance of the items, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
Those are approved. Next items, please.
On the continuation agenda, item 51 is an item notice for public hearing. Public hearing was held in the Planning and Land Use Management Committee, and that report has been distributed to all members. A motion is required.
Okay. Mr. Weiss moves that item. Any further discussion? And seeing no requests from members of the public to address the council on item 51, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That is approved. Colleagues, we also have a special meeting agenda posted for today. Let's temporarily recess the regular meeting agenda. And Mr. Clerk, please call the roll on the special meeting.
Cardenas, Garcetti, Gruel, Hahn, Labange, Ludlow, Miskowski, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Smith, Villaraigosa, White, Zine, Padilla. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. The special meeting is now in session. We do have a one-item agenda. And we do have a couple of cards on this item. Mr. Parks, did you wish to be recognized?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to request that on Special 1 that we take it out of order and also ask for a 10-minute public hearing. We have about 6 speakers.
Okay, I do have 4 speaker cards on this item. We do have a few presentations to get back to. Is there any objection to hearing from members of the public on item number 1 of the special agenda? If there's no objection, then let's hear from the following individuals now. Ron Brewington, followed by Kim Weston, Kitty Sears, and I believe it's Silk Sozart. Please come forward.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, members of the council. My name is Ron Brewington. I'm the executive director of the Motown Alumni Association. I'd like to take a moment, first of all, to thank Councilman Parks for his outstanding support for a petition that we're trying to get a commemorative U.S. postage stamp for legendary Motown singer Marvin Gaye. Secondly, I would say with no equivocation at all that there is no one in this room that I know of that has never heard the music and the sounds of Marvin Gaye. And what we're trying to do is just get him a postage stamp, a very unique and very special honor today, and we appreciate your support in this effort. I brought along with me a couple of people who just would like to say just a couple of quick remarks to you. First of all, if you know Marvin's history, you know that there were 4 ladies who sang with him. Mary Wells was the first, Kim Weston was the second, yeah, lost that name. Diana Ross was the third, and Tammy, thank you, sir, and Tammy Terrell was the fourth. Well, with me today, I'd like to introduce to you Ms. Kim Weston.
Thank you, Mr. Brewington. Thank you, council members. I don't know exactly what to say other than I'm aware of Marvin bringing a social conscience to not only America, but to the entire world with his recording of What's Going On, which was inspired by the Vietnam War and its outcome, who his brother was a part of. And when he came home, that was what he said. What's going on, man? Have things changed? And I think because of that he deserves special recognition. Thank you.
The next person I'd like to introduce to you is Ms. Kitty Sears. For many years, she was his personal assistant. She was with him up until the time he passed away. Ms. Kitty Sears.
Good morning. I didn't expect to speak, but since I'm up here, I can't think of anyone that I'm more proud of to have a stamp to be shown for Marvin. I know he's looking down saying, well, I'm doing it again. However, I thank you so very much, and Marvin is bigger now than he's been in his life. So again, thank you very much.
And the last person I'd like to present to you is an actor and a filmmaker. His name is Silk Cosart. In conjunction with the work we were trying to do to get the stamp, he created an organization called Stars for Marvin. And over almost 200 celebrities have joined us in this effort, starting with Quincy Jones and Muhammad Ali, and the name just goes on and on and on. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Silk Cosart.
Thank you. Morning, Mr. President and City Council members, and thank you, Mr. Parks, Councilman Parks. First of all, in the entertainment business, I feel that there's a lack of, I guess, more to say, people that step up are more interested in making money and buying cars and houses. Nothing wrong with that, but I think what Marvin was talking about and had been singing about for years, it's coming back around. There's nothing changed. We've got wars, we've got rumors of wars, we've got people that are just out of control. What he sang about was love. What I'm about is love. I'm using the entertainment industry as a platform to speak from. And I have many friends I've called, and they all came on board, every one of them, from Muhammad Ali, Tobey Maguire, Woody Harrelson, Don Cheadle. I could be up here naming over 200, I believe. At the same time, you're going to be seeing movies about Marvin Gaye. I will be portraying him in one of the films. And many times we're going to have a lot of people that love music, but they don't have a voice. They don't know what to say or how to express themselves. I'm going to be that voice for the entertainment industry from my point of view. And I really, really strongly advise everyone to listen to Marvin Gaye's music before you make any decisions. Thank you.
Again, we thank you very, very much for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brewington. Colleagues, this is something I think that is very important to not only the 8th District residents, but the entire city, in that we honor a person that we've all grown up with the music. A couple of things as a footnote of he being an artist that for the first time was the first artist to ever put the words of the song on the album cover. For the youngsters, that was what was there before you have CDs, but the albums. And then the other issue is he was one of the first artists to ever sing all of the parts of a song and then record it as one package. He has mentioned earlier this record of what's going on, but also I think at the time it was revolutionary on the song Sexual Healing, which now today is like kindergarten stuff, but certainly at that time was a remarkable achievement. But here's somebody I think that we also do not give him credit for the wide range. He sung the standards. He also was R&B jazz. He had a whole range of activities. And again, Tom, you're the historian, and you may be the only one here that remembers this, but he also was one of the members of the Harvey and the Moonglows. And you can explain to Eric over there who Harvey and the Moonglows later. But these are the things that we remember as Marvin grew up, developed his skills, and I would strongly encourage each one that we get a unanimous vote to honor Marvin Gaye's memory by having a stamp in which not only for his family, but for the whole country that benefited from his artistry and what many people call that he was a poet that just happened to put music behind it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Mr. Labange.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Parks. Thank you for bringing this forward. I happen to remember exactly where I was when I learned over the radio that Marvin Gaye died. I was on the San Bernardino Freeway right by Cal State LA. And every time I pass there, I think of Marvin. And I think what you said about him as an artist is so important. And what others have said true. And what is so interesting about artists of that era is they were truly artists, truly wrote their music, and it wasn't written by somebody in Hollywood. It was written from the soles of the man's feet through his heart and mind. So I think it's so important we support this and hope our postal system, which is a great system, and I love the post office, and I love the stamps. And the number one stamp, believe it or not, that they sell is of Elvis Presley. And I think it was so important when they broke that tradition that they had of having people from not the current generation. It opened up a whole new range for people to be supported, be recognized, and to be understood. And Marvin Gaye is certainly one of those Americans who should be understood and recognized by having a stamp in his honor. I join with Councilmember Parks and call for unanimous support.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Other members wishing to be heard on this item? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
That is approved. Colleagues, this concludes the special meeting agenda. Let's adjourn the special meeting and return to the regular meeting. And Mr. Clerk, next item, please.
That would take us back to item 7, which is the appointment of Ms. Bonnie Kong to the Cultural Heritage Commission.
Okay, colleagues, we have 3 commission appointments on the agenda today. At the conclusion of the consideration of the commission nominees, we will return to the presentation segment of our agenda. Ms. Kong, please come forward. Colleagues, this is a mayor's appointment to the Cultural Heritage Commission. Public hearing was held in committee. We have a committee report recommending approval. Are there members wishing to be heard on item number 7? Mr. Labange.
Thank you very much for your service. Art is extremely important. Just give us your rundown how you feel about art and what you're going to do to advocate for art for this city.
As a practicing architect, I'm very appreciative and looking forward to serving on this commission. And I do think that it's important for the community to understand and value the buildings and the art that's around our city and to preserve it and to have respect for that as it enhances the way that we live and all this and is a contribution to all the citizens in this city as well.
Thank you, Mr. President. You're replacing a great commissioner who I knew real well from my years of service, so I hope you continue in the good service. The mayor could select who he wants to serve on commissions. He selected you because he believes in you, and I believe in you to do a good job for the people of Los Angeles, and I wish you well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 eyes.
Congratulations. You are approved. Forthwith, please. Forthwith on 7, on 13, and 15, please. Next item.
Item 8 is the appointment of Mr. Joey Shimada to the Affordable Housing Commission.
Mr. Shimoda, please come forward. Colleagues, again, we have a committee report recommending approval of Mr. Shimoda. Are there members wishing to be heard on this item? Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, colleagues. Mr. Shimoda came into committee, Housing, Community, and Economic Development Committee. We unanimously supported this nomination. It's a great appointment by the mayor. We had some questions on affordable housing and had the opportunity to have a discussion. I just wanted to pass that on to everybody. We're looking forward very much to working with you. Have some great affordable housing issues to tackle in this city, but you have the full support of the committee, and I urge my colleagues to approve this unanimously today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll, please close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 eyes.
That is approved. Thank you, Mr. Shimoda. Next item, please.
Item 9 is the reappointment of Ms. Lisa Greer-Quaitman to the Industrial Development Authority.
Okay, please come forward at this time. And colleagues, once again, on item number 9, we do have a committee report recommending approval. Members wishing to be heard, beginning with Mr. Weiss.
Good morning, Ms. Quaitman. Good morning. I'm delighted that you're here, and I'm delighted that you're going to continue to serve this city. You have an extraordinary background, you do. What you've accomplished in your legal career and as an entrepreneur in the legal profession is very impressive. You look skeptical, but it's all true, it's all deserved, and you're an excellent choice. The mayor it's really to the mayor's credit that he selected you for this position, and I look forward to working with you on this issue and many others in the years to come. Congratulations and thank you.
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Same thing as before. We had the joy of having Ms. Quaitman in committee, and she discussed, I think, a number of things, including greater outreach and marketing with our Industrial Development Authority bonds. And I know Mr. Reyes had some particular interest in the LA River stuff, and we're very much in support of your reappointment and looking forward to working with you. So urge unanimous approval today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti.
Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 eyes.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for serving the city. Forthwith on items 8 and 9 as well, please. And colleagues, this brings us back to the presentation segment of our agenda, and we will return to items called special at the conclusion of presentations. For our next presentation, let me recognize Councilmember Labange.
Virginia, come on up here. Mr. President, members, standing next to me is one of the great contributors to the arts in Los Angeles. She loves the arts, she loves the history, and she actually wrote a book, a number of books, whether it's on Bunker Hill or our stairways or our fountains or our streetlights. Virginia Comer, who came from Massachusetts, came out here, got educated at the University of California at Santa Barbara. She's a published poet and author, biographer. She is best known for her works that deal with the history of Southern California. I invited her in because I've known her over the years and know how special she is. And she's so special, and she's thought so much of each and every one of you. If you look above your tables and chairs there, Mr. Zine. Mr. Zine, you see that nice little book right there? That's what Virginia gave to you, a little book there on the streetlights of Los Angeles.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, good. All right. But Virginia, I wanted to honor you, because anybody who puts a book together has to do an awful lot of work to do that. But then she put a book together that describes the history of our streetlights, and it's absolutely fascinating, the over 220 different styles of streetlights in the city. She did a book on our fountains, which described the many fountains and gateways, from the great Mulholland Fountain, from the founder of our water and power system at Los Feliz and Riverside, to the fountains of downtown, to the fountains in Exposition Park, et cetera, et cetera. And also the stairways. The stairways. And you know, in Mr. Garcetti's district and my district are the largest number of public stairways in the city, because as the city developed West End, they created these public stairs, these series of public stairs for people to walk on. So Virginia, and not have to climb the long streets, but to walk the long stairs. I walked the stairs today on Landis Street in Silver Lake. But Virginia, I wanted to thank you for what you've done, and I have a commendation here that's seconded by Janice Hahn of the 50th District, and it salutes you for all that you've done, Virginia, as an artist, as an author, and as a historian. Please salute Virginia Comer.
Thank you, sir.
There we go. Thank you.
First of all, it's a pleasure to be able to publicly thank Tom Labange, not only because of his recognition of the half-dozen books that I've written about this city, not only because Tom has contributed to photographs in my later publications, but also because Tom Labange gives the word politician a very good name.
Oh, shucks.
Yes. And yes, I have known Tom, and I especially thank him for this. And I just wanted to mention that of the 6 books that I have written, there is a scattering of the different ones. I particularly put Crown Hill for Eric Garcetti because that's his district. And Crown Hill is one of the original 4 hills of Los Angeles. There was Pound Cake Hill, Fort Moore Hill, Bunker Hill, and Crown Hill. And Crown Hill is something to look at as a lesson, just as Bunker Hill is. Bunker Hill was revitalized, but in that revitalization, we get some of the pluses of what we have and some of the minuses of what was taken away. And Crown Hill is waiting, I hope, for a kind of revitalization that will make the city healthier. And this story will give some of the background on what Crown Hill once was. And to further that, those of you who have the Whitmers of Crown Hill, the Whitmer family, the name is not as well known as, say, Lancashire, but it's because the men in the family had bad hearts, and so they didn't last. But there is a street, there are several little streets called Whitmer, but Mr. Whitmer started the California Bank, the first railway in Los Angeles, and the 600 acres of Crown Hill on which Doheny discovered oil in 1892. And there's some wonderful pictures in that particular book that show the wildcatting that went on and why Belmont never should have built where they did. And then the other 3 books, Streetlights, Stairways, and Fountains, again will show you what a wonderful city Los Angeles is and has been. And the other one that I don't have a copy for you, but it's Bunker Hill, the history of the Incline Railway, Angel's Flight. And again, that will give you a microcosm of what was happening in the city, which started out pretty close to the, well, it was Main Street, where St. Vibiana's is. That's where the heart of the city was, and it has moved west. And if you have an opportunity, from Crown Hill to Bunker Hill, I would really urge you to have a look at the history of your city. Thank you.
Well, Virginia, thank you very much. And you mentioned from Main Street, you know, and I know that it's so important to all know the poem. It's so important. From Maine, I spring to Broadway, up the hill to Olive. Would it be grand if I could hope to pick a flower on Figueroa? How's that, huh?
Yes.
Let's thank Virginia Colmer for all her work as a great artist. And also, Virginia, I want you to salute with me right here Mary Rodriguez, who is from Los Feliz, but she just curated a show on street lighting in Los Angeles at the Museum of Neon Light on Olympic Boulevard. And the one great thing about Mary is she's actively involved with her community, and she goes to the neighborhood meetings. And you know what I do there, members? I talk about the city's history, too. And so what I did is I said, let's go look at all the old streetlights at Virgil and Santa Monica at the old street lighting yard and look at them. And Mary came up with the idea to bring them out of the old yard and put them into the museum downtown so people can enjoy it. Mary, I want to salute you for your Streetlight of Los Angeles program, of the exhibit at the Museum of Neon Art, and also salute the workers from Street Lighting who are working today out somewhere in the city making sure the lights are bright for the citizens of Los Angeles. Mary, say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank you very much for your book. It helped me in my research of the exhibit, and I enjoyed it very much. This exhibit is unique because it brings the streetlights, the lanterns, the luminaires, right down to eye level. So when you're staring up from the street at a light, which is 10, 20 feet above you, you have no idea of the beautiful detail that went into them when these were made in the 20s and the 30s. And I urge you to come down and take a look. We also have a great history of when each of the lights went up. And it was a time in LA history when the developers took great pride in creating neighborhoods and came up with a variety of different types of streetlights that really were gorgeous, and they competed with each other, and neighborhoods were proud of them, as we still are today. So please come to the museum, take a look. I think you'll like it. The Museum of the Neon Art is unique in the world, and we have the only one here right downtown on Olympic and Hope, and please come by. Thank you
very much, Mary. Let's salute the lights right there. Now, Mr. President, ask Laura.
Mr. Garcetti wishes to add a few words.
Okay.
Thank you. I want to thank Virginia for her book and the incredible research. Virginia, thank you so much for this gift and the incredible research. It's really wonderful. And yeah, give her a round of applause. It's great. And I think it's Mr. Reyes's district where most of Crown Hill was, though there's a little bit that I represent. But it's an amazing testimony to look through, to see also those staircases that Tom talked about, which were really to go down to a lot of the streetcars. And we have a staircase working group now with the Department of Transportation, which is looking at all of them citywide to make sure we can preserve, restore, and have those incredible public stairways preserved here in Los Angeles. And thank you, Tom, for honoring Mary as well, who's a great community activist who I've had the joy of working with, and the exhibition looks like it's wonderful. I'm going to get down there, and there's as you know, there's an exhibition every single day right on Santa Monica Boulevard, just in the parking lot of the northeast corner of Santa Monica and Vermont, of many of the streetlights over the years. So folks in LA, if you ever, it's at the Rite Aid there, you can actually see them in the parking lot, many of the years of our street lighting examples and how different neighborhoods had different lights. And it's a great little piece of Los Angeles arcana. So thank you, Tom.
Great. Good. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Garcetti, let's give everybody a big hand here. Eric, come and join me. And Mr. President, I'm asking Mr. Garcetti to join me because we have, in conjunction with the Mayor's Office, a Latino Art Best Hispanic Heritage Art Competition awardees who are going to move up a little closely. Naomi Rodriguez is here from the Mayor's Office. We want to call them all up. Who's the first gentleman here? Don Rossi? Yeah, Don Rossi, the president of the How do you do? I want to introduce you to Don Rossi, who's the president of the Latino Art, and we want to welcome you here to Council and give us a little briefing on this great program that we have right now.
Thank you very much. My name is Don Rossi Nuccio. I'm president of Latino Art Beat. We initiated a program in Chicago about 7 years ago, and it basically consisted of an art competition, and the theme was quite simple: what Hispanic heritage and culture means to me. The program started out in 1998. We were able to give out $3,000 in scholarships, and we did a little festival which attracted about 300 people. Well, the program has doubled and trebled and quadrupled in size since 1998, and I'm proud to say by the year 2003, we're now able to give out close to $250,000 in scholarships, not only to students in Chicago, but also in New York, Miami, Houston, and recently here in Los Angeles. We're very proud to have been part of this program on a national basis, and thanks to the great patronage and support of General Motors, we've been able to expand our competition outside of Chicago. This being our first year in Los Angeles, we're very proud to be able to award collectively $5,000 this morning to 3 young, very talented Los Angeles artists, all high school level. And the purpose of the competition is to, 1, recognize one's Hispanic heritage, but 2, to also be able to encourage higher and further education. I'd like now to actually make the presentation.
And I'm going to ask that we join and introduce also Councilmember Jack Weiss. Together, along with Mr. Garcetti, we've been involved and supportive of this. Mr. Weiss, for your presentation for the start.
Thank you, Mr. LaBonge, and it's terrific to have the chance to recognize these wonderful high school students, including 3 students, 3 of the 5 top 5 finishers attend high school in Council District 5. One of them is here today. The 2 who are not, I'm just going to briefly mention Christian Robinson, an 11th grader at Fairfax High, who did acrylic work, and Clara Kim, a 12th grader from Fairfax, who did watercolor, pencil, and acrylic work. The young man who's here today is Fernando Cristobal from Hamilton High, 12th grader, for his pencil efforts. Congratulations to you, Fernando.
And Jesus Mascoro, thanks for correcting me. Correct me again. Mascoro. Jesus Mascoro is an awardee, and we want to congratulate him. He did not go to Hamilton High School. He went to John Marshall High School. So we want to salute you for that. Congratulations. Thank you so much. And we have the certificate right here. We're going to go in the back and take pictures. Everybody, just to show that we've kind of thrown this together rather quickly, but it also talks about the importance of art and the importance of the heritage of all our different communities, the communities of Los Angeles. And just think how lucky we are that 41% of the people of this county, of this city I should say, are from some other place in the world, that they can bring their art to Los Angeles to enlighten us all. But anyway, Mr. President, members, we congratulate you, we thank you. We're going to go in the back and take some pictures. Art is important, but before I do, I must introduce the great councilwoman for the 50th District, Janice Hahn. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Well, I just, before you went back to take pictures, I do want to congratulate everyone who's there, but I would like for Tom LaBonge to come back up here next to me. While you're up here, I wanted to present to you on behalf of your colleagues, congratulations on making it to your 50th birthday. And I must say, you don't look a day over 49. But you know, we all love Tom LaBonge. Who can't love Tom LaBonge? And there's nobody that loves Los Angeles more than Tom LaBonge. There's nobody that teaches us history like Tom LaBonge. I know, look at Bridgie. And I think of the movie It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, God bless you.
And I think of all the things in this city that would not be true if you were not born 50 years ago. You have literally changed the landscape of this city in a number of ways. You love the people, we love you, and we're glad you were born 50 years ago.
Thank you.
Surprise. Surprise, Tom.
I have some comments for the councilman. The staff has decided that the councilman needed to be honored in a particularly special way. And being that he's a larger-than-life personality, the most appropriate thing is that Tom should star in his own movie. So what movie would that be? It would have to be a movie that was filmed in Los Angeles. And even better, filmed in the 4th Council District. So we went through the movies and we thought, nope, Double Indemnity won't do. Chinatown won't do. Sunset Boulevard won't do. What would do, Tom? Rebel with a Cause. Shot in Tom's favorite landmark, Griffith Observatory. Griffith Observatory. Tom? Tom? So here he is in Cine LA Scope, which is the modern version of Technicolor.
Right there. Wow,
Dancing with Bridget. So on behalf of the staff, Tom, a happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will say a few words.
No,
Jade Galbraith.
Tom.
Yeah.
Not before we hear from Mr. Zine, Mr. Dudlow, and other members of the council. Mr. Zine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tom, happy birthday. I know what it feels like to be 50 because I did that 6 years ago. There's some benefits you'll receive with your age today. In the mail, you'll receive an ARP card, American Association of Retired Persons. That comes to you, and that will provide for you discounts at Motel 6 and other wonderful places around the country. And I know you like to travel. I know Tom likes to travel and save money. And at Denny's, Tom, they have that senior menu, which is wonderful. Some of us can participate in that, and I welcome you to that group because that is a milestone in your life, and I know the wonderful accomplishments, you, Bridget, and the family. My best to you on this wonderful day. 50 years, Tom LaBonge, all the way from Tom LaBonge to Tom LaBonge. I know your family's proud of you.
No, thank you.
I wish your children were here to see it because they would be jumping all over you.
Yeah.
Mary Catherine would take the microphone away
That's
and be
true.
talking on that. But congratulations, my good friend.
Thank you,
And look for that ARP card because it does serve you well. You can join me at those ARP discount places. Congratulations. Happy birthday, Tom. What?
Mr.
No,
Dudlow.
I don't mean that. I mean when you're traveling, Tom, not, you know.
Mr. Dudlow.
Just because you represent Hollywood.
Oh, I know. He was just saying that. I'm teasing him. I love you, Dennis.
You know, I think, what's this thing about having a birthday in the middle of city council here today? You know, Tom never does anything low-key. He always does things very energetically. He's always up there making sure everybody understands from all the way down in San Pedro and, you know, all the way out there in Woodland Hills. We need to make sure that people all around the city, everybody, all the way down there to Wilmington, they need to know this is a great city. We got a great council member. Every part of Los Angeles loves Tom. We love Tom LaBonge. This is Tom LaBonge Day. Happy birthday, Tom. We love you, Tom. This is a great day in Los Angeles, Tom. Keep going, Tom. Thank you. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brought to you by the great Department of Water and Power.
That's right. Thank you. That's it.
Ms. Perry.
Hey, Tom LaBonge, I just wanted to say nobody loves you more than I do, except maybe your wife, I think. But you're just such an excited and exciting councilman with boundless energy. I don't know how you do it. I think you go in the front door and you say hi to everybody in the room, and then you go out the back door, and then everybody in the whole room always feels like they had personal time with you. You are someone to emulate. You truly define the standard of public service. You love what you do, and you are never above doing what it takes. I remember back in the 1980s, I was riding in a car with you, and we were riding down the street somewhere. We were both deputies. You scared me to death because you stopped the car, you yelled at somebody for littering, and you really yelled at them too. And I was really scared, and you did get out of the car and tell them to pick it up. I don't know if you remember that, but I do because it scared me so much. But I want to tell you, it's made an indelible mark on me, and it just defines who you are because you care about all the issues, big and small. So, and Bridget, you're very lucky. I know he's hyper, but you're very lucky.
Mr. Cardenas.
Well, Tom, I must admit, Eric and I were sitting here and we're saying, is that 50 years with the city or 50 years old? But wait a minute, hold on. As much as Tom knows about this city, he must have started when he was in diapers. But what it really comes from, every moment of Tom's life, I feel that he loves who he is. He loves what this city represents. And I think, Tom, you more than anybody else deserves to be a representative of this city because you do, in fact, bring an element and a perspective that sometimes in our busy daily lives we forget about the little things and the everyday folks who do so much for us every day. So I hope to see my 50th, and I hope that I'm respected and appreciated as much as you. Congratulations on your birthday, and enjoy.
Ms. Misikowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this really is a historic moment. Do you remember any time that Tom has stood in one place and been silent for this long? Tom, as I look at the candles there, you light up every room, every place. You light up Los Angeles, and we are so great we are lucky to have you here. And Jane and the staff, I think as you went through the movies, there were a whole group of them that I knew you had to eliminate right away, and those were the silent movies. Happy birthday, Tom.
Ms. Gruhl.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too want to stand up, and I can't even match Martin Ludlow's presentation earlier. I hope you don't imitate me at some point. That's what I just want to make sure. But I wanted to. Tom and I have known each other for a very, very long time. Not 50 years, but over 20 since I was on the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council. But I look at Tom every day that he's here in the City Council, and he loves what he does. He loves being a council member. He loves the people. He loves his wife, Bridget, who he's now hugging. But Tom, you are a special person in this city that we value, and there's no bigger cheerleader than Tom LaBonge. And we hope that you'll have 50 more years where you can tell us those stories and educate us and let the people of the city know that they have one of the best council members around who we're happy to celebrate your 50th birthday today.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Smith.
Well, my dear friend Tom, we've served a long time in these walls, but Mr. President, we need to separate Martin and Tom because this is getting really scary what's going on over there.
It's
Tom,
contagious.
It's contagious, and that's scary. Tom, what's great about Tom is we would have probably thousands of citizens from all over the world wandering around this building not knowing what to look at if Tom didn't go out and give tours to everybody that walked in the door. I always thought he was like the Walmart greeter of the city of LA. Welcome, let me take you on a tour. I ran into him at 7:30 or 8 o'clock one morning with a group of German tourists, couldn't speak English, and he couldn't speak German, but he was giving them a tour of the whole building, and he went around and took them to every office that was open, but that's Tom, and that's what makes him such a really special treat around here. And all I can say is, Tom, is congratulations on your 50 years, and life would be different around here if it wasn't for you, but the meetings would be a lot shorter, too.
Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tom, happy birthday. Really happy to see that we're celebrating this. We've had a long history together. And one thing that I'm so happy that your first one has grown, because if you knew Tom when the birth occurred, every time you'd see him, he'd show you an album of photos. And you couldn't get out of it because you'd say, Tom, I saw that. And he said, no, those were yesterday's photos. And he'd bring a new album. And so there has to be the most photographed child in the world. I had a great opportunity to ride through Tom's district just a couple of days ago. We didn't see much of the district because he talked to everybody in the street. So we'll have to renew that at a later time. But he does have a outreaching personality and certainly a clear love for this city. And I think the fact that he also honors people like his predecessor in his district is a person that really is one that set what city council people should do. And I think the fact that you're following in his footsteps is something that is absolutely what your dream was. And certainly I think he's pleased that you're doing exactly what he'd want you to do. So congratulations.
Mr. Weiss.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tom, I agree with much of what has been said. I just add this, that one of the unwritten requirements of these jobs and of the other jobs in this building, I believe, is to carry on a public love affair with the city and the district that you represent. And all of us do what we can, but none of us come close in terms of meeting our responsibilities for that requirement. None of us come close to you, and you inspire all of us with the example you set for us. Happy birthday, Tom.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you very much.
Mr. Garcetti.
Happy birthday, Tom.
Thank you.
It's been a fun couple of years hanging out together, hearing your stories here in City Council and outside of City Council. I mean, to learn things like that you were one of the original builders of the California Aqueduct, that you brought water to Los Angeles, representing Silver Lake, which I guess you said was named after your hair, with you, being able to learn that you were personally friends with John Marshall and convince him to do a high school. All those things which really brings this LA history back to us has just been absolutely incredible. I know your family, your 53 brothers, I mean, that must have been a world record. Everybody knows them in Atwater Village and Silver Lake and Taiwan and India, Nigeria. But one thing you've taught us too is that your love of Los Angeles and all of its microphones is something really to emulate. And I'd like to reverse the formula and say you're really lucky to have Bridget, because she is an incredible gift in your life. And your two wonderful kids as well. But in all seriousness, Tom, it has just been a great joy the last 2 years to serve side by side with you, literally, and to work on the city. And you've taught me so much about loving this city, which is my home. And whether it's Olympic Stadium in Berlin or a small meeting at the Silver Lake Senior Club, you represent Los Angeles and make us all proud. I know we've got a head of government here, the mayor, who does a great job, but in my mind, you're our head of state, and continue that great work. Happy birthday, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. And we've forgotten to mention, and that's one of the things that I love about Los Angeles and makes it so great. It's the people like Tom LaBonge. In the next charter reform or charter amendment on the ballot, we have to create a position in city government under the title ambassador, because I think that's what you are, Tom. You're the best ambassador Los Angeles can ever have. Happy birthday.
Well, thank you. I first and foremost want to thank my lovely wife who put up with me for 25 years. We've been married 50 to the 25 years, but absolutely tremendous support from Bridget in allowing me to do what I do. And that's the same for all of us who have our great partners and wives and husbands. But I also want to say, too, I had an absolutely great family to come from. I had great parents, and I wish that for everybody. My mother and father had great love of people and love of Los Angeles, which really inspired me. And when I was born 50 years ago, my mother called Mrs. O'Brien to come over from Tesla Avenue to watch Bobby and Tim and Chris and Dennis. And then she drove Brian and Steve to St. Francis of Assisi School and on Golden Gate off of Sunset. Then she went down to the Queen of Angels Hospital, parked the car, went into the Queen of Angels, and at 8:45 I came out. And Dr. McCarthy, who delivered all the LaBonge boys, asked if she wanted to call, because that time Min could not be in the delivery room, wanted to call my dad up, Bob, and she said I didn't have time to call him this morning. So that's why I kind of move fast. But I also move fast because we only have so much time to live in this world, and every day is different. And every day is different to help someone and make a difference in their lives. And, you know, Greg, when you talk about helping those people, I was young, and I hope all young, and it's really the deputies. And Bernard, thanks for mentioning John on that too, but I had a great opportunity to work for John. But the deputies who are around here and the young deputies, I hope you work real hard and charge hard and greet those people who walk down Main Street and teach them a little about our history and share, because one day someone's going to share that with you. And it's a continual recycle of life, which is so important. Every day there's an example of something that happened in my life 20, 30, 40 years ago that comes back, and it's all the positive. And I have one of the, as all of our staffs, one of the greatest staffs, headed up by Kathy Jones-Iris, who I've known a little longer than my wife, but just a little bit longer. But Kathy's a wonderful pal and a wonderful chief of staff, and is very effective in helping all of us focus and help people in the community. So it's just so nice to reach this point. It's been 200 seasons of life right now at 50. And the only reason I figured that out is when I went to Bob Hope's memorial mass, they talked about his 400. So I said, I'm coming up to my 200. And I think that's a wonderful thing, because if we look at life in seasons that we have and the importance of recognizing seasons of what they are, and try to use the time right. The toughest thing about this job is balancing time, so I spend enough with the family and spend enough in the community. But if we balance it out, we could do it, and there's no greater honor that I have than to serve the greatest city in the world, Los Angeles. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you. I see you got me smoking a cigarette there, huh? Okay. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. President. And thank the staff, and thank Ron Deaton. You know, and I will end by one thing. I want to thank the great calligraphers of Los Angeles, because I will tell you, and as Eric mentioned, whether it's a senior center, I went to our sister city of Berlin one time, and it was the 50th anniversary of the Berlin airlift, and I believe Wesley Clark was there, because I spoke to him and thanked him on behalf of Los Angeles. See, as an ambassador, you can thank everybody. And he told us how important is Olivia Mitchell, the city Hood sister city relationship with. But I had a little certificate for the 50th anniversary of the Berlin airlift. Big event, 40,000 people, Olympic Stadium, Berlin. And only two people spoke. The mayor of Berlin and me. Because I had a greeting from our city that talked about the city of Los Angeles and the greeting to that. And what was interesting on top of that, it was on national TV. Wait.
I'm sorry, Mr. LaBonge, your time is now expired. We're going to have to move on.
I just want to close. Wait, it was on national TV, and they introduced me as a vice president of Los Angeles. But it was wonderful. And anyway, God bless you all. Cut the microphone, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, you be right back? All right, great. Thank you, Mr. President. And the birthday boy will be right back. And I'll hold the mic so he doesn't filibuster again. The month of October is recognized as National Arts and Humanities Month by the United States Congress, the President of the United States, and thousands of communities and organizations across the United States. Arts and culture affect every aspect of our lives here in the city of Los Angeles, including our economy, the education and safety of our youth, our civic lives, and community development and creativity. With this in mind, Mr. Labange and I, he's in the back right now, isn't he? Okay. Join in heading this year's effort to recognize this important month and have it declared effective today as Los Angeles Youth Arts Day to kick off the Youth Arts Week here in our city. The arts provide a very positive voice and creative outlet for all young people in our city and give greater risk and underprivileged youth a unique opportunity to become more active and involved in their community. As part of this month, the Art Matters in Juvenile Justice Education and our community conference brings together representatives of the City of Los Angeles, Cultural Affairs Department, law enforcement, and judicial agencies, as well as city commissioners and hundreds of community-based organizations to explore how arts can best reach our young people. Arts stimulate visits to our city by out-of-town tourists and residents within the Southern California area, which benefits our city's economic health and our local economy. I can tell you the number of tourists that are standing in front of Disney Hall every day just looking, photographing, and sketching the architecture is increasing on a daily basis, and we haven't even opened yet. A city filled with art and beauty creates civic pride and instills a positive sense of community. So I would like to salute the Cultural Affairs Department for their great work in making this month's activities possible for our young people. And I join in celebrating the essential contributions of young people of all ages to the betterment and future heritage of our community. And I would like to recognize our speaker here today from the department, and hopefully you can talk until Mr. Labange gets back here.
Hopefully, I don't think I can talk that long.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Councilmember Perry. On behalf of the Cultural Affairs Department, our General Manager, Margie Reese, our Cultural Heritage and Cultural Affairs Commissions, and particularly our Youth Arts and Education Division and the number of volunteers that comprised our community planning committee for the Youth Arts Conference that was held on yesterday and for the activity that will be culminating on tomorrow. We thank you for allowing Los Angeles to join the rest of the nation in honoring our young people and also talking about the significance of arts in all areas of our lives, including juvenile justice, the community, and education. On yesterday, we had a wonderful conference at the Biltmore Hotel where we had over 500 plus representatives from all various areas, including the arts, juvenile justice, community-based organizations that was involved in an all-day conference on yesterday. Yesterday was just the beginning of the dialogue, and we appreciate your support as we move forward to creating a better Los Angeles for our children and our youth. Thank you very much.
No, it's real simple. Art matters, and a very good and important job. Thank you.
Tom. Thank you, Councilmember.
Let's take a picture with this, sir. Take a picture. We can do it up here if you want.
Okay, good. I don't want to put you.
You want to do it there?
Virginia, we're going to go in the back.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. For our next presentation, let me recognize Councilmember Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to ask Mrs. Ozzie Gonzak to come up, who I consider a living legend in the city of Los Angeles. We're here to honor her for a number of reasons. All right, Ms. Perry, leave her alone. Here's a person that, a native of Little Rock, Arkansas. She moved to Monroe, Louisiana, 1940. It happened to be the city of where my mother was born, and traveled west to Watts in 1944. She's currently the proud mother of 3 daughters, 2 stepdaughters, 2 stepsons, and a grandmother of 7. But what's most important, in addition to her family life, is her leadership that she's shown in this city. She's been a consensus builder on the Housing Authority Commission, committed to providing a valuable service to the city. As a chairperson of LA Housing Authority Commission, She's responsible for governing 7-member board. The board serves as an authority responsible for approving an appropriation of roughly $350 million. She was appointed by our late mayor, Tom Bradley, in 1985, served 18 consecutive years under 3 administrations. She's also, during that time, been a member of the Citizen Advisory Committee for the City of Los Angeles Enterprise Zone. She's been a member of the National Housing Association, and she also chaired the Security Committee for the Watts Cinema and Entertainment Plaza. But also, she's shown leadership in another way. In 1969, she started her career service or public service by becoming a rater in the LAPD exam process. She then moved on, became an active board of directors member for the Business Boosters. She's one of the members of the 77th Dames. She later, after the Southeast Station opened in about 1978, was a founding member of the Southeast Easterettes. Many people are not aware that she's responsible for creating the logo on the side of the LAPD police cars and came up with the slogan, "To Protect and Serve." It's been replicated throughout the world as a slogan for local law enforcement. In '85, she ran also the South Los Angeles campaign headquarters for Mayor Bradley. She served 8 years as a volunteer with the Bureau of Consumer Affairs, participating in field studies to test the legitimacy of advertising practices. She served also for 15 years as a senior advisor, council member for the district attorney under Everett Younger, Joseph Bush, and John Vandecap. She also has received numerous commendations from a variety of state, county, and federal elected officials. I would like, in the sense of presenting her this plaque today, which I think is probably the highest honor we can give a citizen volunteer, is the City Seal, and like to say to her, thank you very much for that service. You've been a mainstay in the City of Los Angeles. I met Mrs. Gonzak right after the first riot, 1965. She was the person that played a role in this city to calm the waters in South Los Angeles, stood up when few wanted to support the police department. But she's had a unique ability to tell you when you're wrong, but support you when you're right. And so that's something that I think is so important. But again, when we think about her service for 40 years in this city, not one dime of income. Did it totally as a volunteer and a volunteer for the City of Los Angeles. Ms. Gonzak, congratulations.
Ms. Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. President, members. I just want to stand and also tell Ozzy that all of us owe you an incredible debt of gratitude for your many years. As Councilman Park said, not one dime, it was all volunteer. And you served under Mayor Bradley, Mayor Reardon, Mayor Hahn. You clearly were an advocate for the residents of Los Angeles, and that's what made you so unique in the way you served on the Housing Authority Committee. You listened to the residents. For many years, they had not had someone that they could talk to that understood their plight, that understood their problems, and you always advocated for them. You always made sure that this city and our departments paid attention to the person who most often did not have a voice in this city, particularly about their own very personal living problems. And we will be forever grateful to you for always having compassion, always putting the people first, and really dedicating your life to public service. And we thank you for your years of service and know that literally you have improved the quality of life for so many people, particularly in South Los Angeles, that really depended on you to see them, to hear them, and then to advocate on their behalf. And we are very grateful for that.
Thank you. Thank you,
Ms.
Councilman.
Perry.
Thank you.
Ozzy, I just wanted to rise and say thank you so much and express my appreciation for your years of service and your common sense, humane, compassionate, and nurturing approach to all issues related to the governance of the Housing Authority. You brought a very practical sense to difficult situations time and time again. That skill will be very difficult to duplicate. And you have, the bar that you've established for all of us is very high. And I can hardly imagine someone coming after you and being able to accomplish even half of what you've accomplished for all your years of service. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Perry. Thank you so much.
Mr. Villaraigosa.
And I want all of you to know that you leave on a great note. Yesterday we were at El Pueblo del Sol, the opening of one of the most incredible affordable housing projects I've ever been a part of or have seen, and it was your leadership and the work of the Housing Department and Hope 6 funds and all of the folks at McCormick, Barron, and Salazar that put together an incredible project, and so you leave on a great note after 40 years of service to the city. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Ms. Gruhl.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to say thank you, Ozzy, to you. I know what I know about housing, and particularly the Housing Authority, because you took the time a long time ago, and I've known you for about 20 years now, since I started in Mayor Bradley's office, and you taught me how to be tough when we needed to be tough, how to be kind, how to be understanding, what it means to be committed and to work, roll up your sleeves, and look at every single detail and be a strong advocate. And you can take partial credit for me being here today because I learned so much from you, and am so pleased that Councilmember Parks took the opportunity to honor you because you've been on the Housing Authority for years. I don't know what we're going to do without you on that board, but I know that myself and Ms. Hahn and others can call you and get your advice. And I know that the Housing Authority staff have always appreciated that you've been there for them and not just given them a hard time, but supported them when it was necessary. And many people in Los Angeles don't know that we have housing projects, as they would call, or in Los Angeles because it's been managed properly. We have still some challenges. We still need to take on HUD together to make sure we get some more funds to bring them up to the level we feel is appropriate and adequate and provides that kind of housing to people that otherwise could not afford it. But you have really demonstrated a strong commitment and passion for people who are less fortunate, and I know there's one of the facilities that's been named after you so appropriately. So congratulations on your years of service, and thank you for being such a good friend to me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ozzy, just congratulations. It is a bittersweet moment because we will need you, we will turn to you, and we will look to you. I was just sharing with these young students who are here today from Belmont High School about service and what we were doing. I was explaining to them how City Council works and that you're a commissioner who has given back for so many years to the city. But you've really proven that this is a government for the people and by the people. Oftentimes we look at great people who give service, and it's because they had high-level contacts or went to school with somebody. You've shown that right from the community is the strongest voice of all. Right in the midst of where the policy is being made, you don't make policy on a community, you make it with a community. You have shown that, and you have shown that with shining colors, and we will look forward to continuing to have you be that bright angel here in the city of Los Angeles. So even though you're going to be going away, we expect to see you quite often. Congratulations.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. President, council members, and Councilman Parks, for that we've served together over 35 years. I started serving with him when he was a rookie on the police department. So we've worked together over the years. But I would just like to say to the City Council that it has been an honor to serve the city, because I was always raised with a family who my parents always said, you have to give something back. You can't always take. And so that's what I've tried to do, is give something back. And as you said, out of 40 years that I've done this, I've never asked a favor, but I'm asking it today. I would ask each and every one of you to please remember that housing in this city is so important. It's something that is necessary, and I have always believed because we have public housing, it does not have to be something we're ashamed of. It does not have to be something that people feel ashamed to live there. They should be able to live there with pride and with dignity and feel that this is a way to a better life, not that it's something that they're being punished to live there. But it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of partnering, and it takes a lot of commitment from both the city and the community. A lot of people think the Housing Authority is just an agency over there with a big pot of money, and we're spending money arbitrarily. We don't have any oversight as to what we're spending. Believe me, we are monitored more than any agency in the city by HUD. So I would just like to say to the council, please support the Housing Authority, because it's a funny thing. I served on the Board of Governors, and you get the flavor of whenever there's a little ripple in the city and there's division, it seems that they use that as a cue that they can come after us and not provide money or support. So it's important that the city and the community stand together when we go to HUD for support. I thank you so much, and I hope that the Housing Authority will continue in the vein it's doing now, which is better housing with more dignity, more mixed housing, and it can be done if we all work together. Thank you so much, and God bless.
I'll take that for you. Get your purse.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. For our final presentation, let me recognize Councilmember Gruhl.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I know that we have had a busy day, but this is going to be the best presentation yet this morning. And I'd like to have all of the students from Milliken Middle School Science Academy please stand so you can see them all in their red shirts. First, give them a great big round of applause, and I'll tell you why. I am here today, and you'll see pictures in a moment, hopefully up on the screen. I'm delighted today to honor the students, faculty, and parents of the Milliken Middle School Academy, Science Academy. I'd like to welcome those parents that are here with us today for this very important occasion. These inspirational 8th grade students are commemorating the 100th anniversary of the Wright brothers' historic flight. Spent their summer building a half-scale flying model replica of the first Wright brothers glider. To my council colleagues and the audience, I hope that you will take time to walk through the rotunda where the students have reassembled this half-scale replica for your viewing pleasure today. And I want to thank Peter Gent, one of our parents, for supplying my staff with the photos that you see up on the screen right now so that we could have a view of their activities. Today we're sharing with a little bit of history because of these students' remarkable academic accomplishments. The successful completion of this project was designed particularly to enrich their skills in math and science. And if someone who was not so good in math and science, I appreciate their accomplishments. They did this while following the history and the turn of the century by repeating the experiments done 100 years ago by the Wrights. As you know, education is a priority for me and for many of you, and nothing is more critical to the economic future of our valley and our city than improving the quality education. And in spite of some of the challenges we have, there is great potential. And today is a perfect example of our kids who have reached enormous heights in producing this replica. They've been hailed by newspapers, on television, and through this Science Academy program, it's the first time in history that our kids have really written their own textbooks. This program has received recognition from President George Bush, from our then Assembly member Tony Cardenas and now Council member, the LAUSD superintendent, and community leaders and parents. This past year, several of these Academy members have passed the AP biology exam, which is unheard of in the middle school level. All of these accomplishments could not have been made possible without the continued commitment of our educators and parents and generous contributions from supporters who too believe in the power of education. These incredible faculty and members and parents who have volunteered their time should be acknowledged for their dedication and commitment. And I also want to introduce our principal, Norm Isaacs, who is here, and the several teachers, if they could stand as well in the back, keep standing. Or come up here, come up here. Come up behind me. And also, I know we have Joanna from Senator Boxer's office who is here as well, and my staff who have been working closely with them. We have proclamations for all of you that you can take home and put on your wall. And one of your teachers and I were talking a little earlier about your tour this morning looking at council. And several of us on the council were members of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council years ago. And it was my first trip here when I went to Kennedy High School in the Valley. And I came down here and I got the bug and I learned that I too could make a difference. So I hope that some of you may be future council members, future Nobel winners, future scientists, and future doctors. Whatever you want to be, the potential is limitless. So thank you so much for what you've done. You make us very, very proud. Another round of applause for the Milliken Middle School Science Academy.
Mr. Cardenas. Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much. This is a pleasant surprise. It's good to see you again, Mr. Lao Chu. And we met a few years ago when I was blessed and fortunate enough to represent this school in my assembly district. You're so lucky, Wendy, to have them in your district. These young people are so impressive that when I went to their school at a presentation of the biology textbooks, not simple matters, this is biology. This is some heavy-duty stuff. There was a professor from CSUN that came and made a presentation and held those books up, those textbooks, and said, these textbooks by these 8th graders are so good that we could use them at CSUN. We could use them at the university level. So this isn't a program that teaches these young people to just try something. It really challenges them far beyond their expectations. I spoke to one of the mothers that day who was just so excited that their child had been a part of this program, and she admitted to me, she'll remain nameless, she admitted to me that when her son came to her and said that he was willing to come on Saturdays, mandatory, to be part of this program, and not to play, but to learn and to grow, that she, not the child, she doubted that he would do it. And she reluctantly allowed him to be in the program. And it was he who pushed her and got her to realize that he believed in himself more than she realized. The reason why I bring that point up is that all too often we see every single day people pointing out the shortcomings of our young people. And this is a perfect example that when we give them the resources, and just one person like Mr. Lao Chu says, I'm going to bring these masses of children together year after year after year and challenge them and prove to them that they can be the best. That is what is great about these kids. That's what's great about education. When you get that kind of activity and you get people to tell us adults, we're wrong sometimes. We doubt our children. They know they can do it. Thank you very much. I was so proud of you, Mr. Lao Chu, that you challenged me to find funding for your program when you needed computers, you needed lab equipment, and there was just no funding for it. And we were fortunate to find someone to give you tens of thousands of dollars for that. And even I myself didn't move fast enough because Mr. Lao Chu called my office and said, Tony, the money's not here yet. The money's not here yet, and we got to get started literally tomorrow. And I said, I apologize for us not moving fast enough for all of you. And we told you, go get a computer, send us the bill, we'll give you a check tomorrow. And you did it. thank you for challenging me, thank you for challenging these children, and thank you for doing the wonderful work that you do. I'm glad to see you're still doing it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm not very good with words, so I'm just going to say a few and let somebody else speak for me. The opportunity for these kids to have and to actually participate in a program like this is a testament to the city that we live in. It's a testament to the politicians that support the program and to the superintendent and our school district. It's a testament to our principal and the administrators at our school, to the parents of the kids in our program, and to my colleagues and the teachers that actually teach at our school. So with the sincerest thank yous that I can give to everybody, I say thank you very much. I would like to emphasize though, that this is a team effort, and the Millikan Science Academy couldn't possibly exist without a team. And I'm the science aspect of the team. Ms. Jody Huff is the English component of the team, and Ms. Erin Tangway is the social science component of the team. We work together. Dr. Isaacs, our principal, supports the program tremendously. The fact that we have a city council member that stands behind us and can bring us here and have the kids recognized is something that's tremendously important to us. Thank you. And like I said, I'm not great with words, so if anybody else would like to say anything, thank you. Thank you for the kids and thank you for education.
I just want to... There's one other very important part of our team, and we really couldn't be successful without our parent volunteers who come to us every day and help us and had such a big part of building the airplane as well as just daily things that happen in the classroom. And I would particularly like to acknowledge Pierre Gant and Ronald Jenkins for their help on the airplane. Parent involvement is so important, and we're so fortunate at Millikan to have wonderful parents like these to help us. Thank you.
Thank you, and I just want to remind you all the plane is in the rotunda, so as you leave here today, I hope you, my council colleagues and staff and city personnel will go and see where the future of our educational system is going. These kids are great, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Skrull. This concludes the presentation segment of today's agenda. As we return to items called special, colleagues, we have 14 members. Mr. Garcetti?
Just an introduction very briefly. Colleagues, I hope you'll join me. I have a few of the students right here, and if the rest of the students will stand up to be recognized from Belmont High School. I want to welcome you for coming in today. Group of 12th graders. We've got the student body president of Belmont High School, Grace Sajur, who will be here for, to announce an upcoming second annual cleanup. Last year, I think we had almost 1,000 young people. Can you imagine that in the city? 1,000 young people coming out to help clean up Belmont and the area around Belmont. So let's hear from Grace, our student body president. Please, colleagues, give her a warm welcome.
Thank you. My name is Gracie L. Sacher, and I am student body president for Belmont High School. I want to be in this area right now in the near future, and I'm hoping. We're inviting all of you to the second annual Belmont High School cleanup this Saturday, next October 25th, 2003, and let's help our community with our presence, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. That's Grace Sager for City Council 2009. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. Colleagues, as I was mentioning, now that we're returning to items called special, we have 14 members present. Earlier in the meeting, we acted on a number of ordinances with less than 12 members present. Unless there's an objection, I'd like to reconsider items 1 through 6 and 30 through 33. Let's open the roll on reconsideration, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
And now that we have more than 12 members present, let's reopen the roll on these ordinances, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Those are approved on first reading. Mr. Clerk, next item, please.
Item 16 was called special by Councilmember Labange.
Let's give him a minute to return. Let's proceed to the next item.
Item 18 was called special by Councilmember Ludlow.
Mr. Ludlow.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think Tom's still eating cake. Members, I called this item special. I wanted to rise in support of this. This is one of the first items to come out of the new Conventions, Tourism, and Entertainment Committee. And I want to thank members Perry and Smith for their work on this, and also the CAO. As many of us know, we're losing tourism dollars here in Los Angeles. There's been a variety of reasons for that, not the least of which back in 1992 after the civil unrest and the 94 earthquake. Later, obviously, in the construction of our world-class convention center, we failed to build a hotel in downtown Los Angeles. And as many of you know right now, in LA, we have about 650 rooms in walking distance of our convention center compared to nearly 2,600 in San Diego and 4,400 in Anaheim. Since the convention center expansion, the city implemented a discount policy to try to lure and attract business from around the world to Los Angeles. And that policy was unanimously supported by the city council and the mayor at that time. Since that policy was implemented, however, there actually was a problem in getting the administrative code caught up to the policy, and it actually resulted in, on an aggregate basis, a couple of events over a series of years coming in, generating slightly less in transit occupancy tax than what the discount had authorized. And so a number of people joined together and began working on this issue, and the CAO and the controller actually are supportive of this item. And in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of the committee, failure to implement this today could have a devastating impact on the convention center and on the work that Jan Perry and many other individuals have been working on in downtown LA to try to lure conventions to Los Angeles. And I just wanted to note, members, a couple of quick items. Members, you should know that New York City is on track to build a phenomenal convention center in downtown New York City, in Manhattan. Washington, D.C. is celebrating its opening year of their brand new convention center with 3 hotels right near the D.C. Convention Center. I had an opportunity to spend last weekend touring that facility. And obviously, right now, Washington, D.C. and San Diego are having some of their most amazing years ever in terms of tourism. But at the top of the list is Sydney, Australia. Sydney, Australia is dwarfing every other city in the world in terms of luring tourism to Los Angeles. To their city. And I think Los Angeles needs to step up, begin to look at what we're doing to make sure that this convention center is as competitive as possible, and making sure that we're not penalizing some of the convention center attendees who have come to the city over the last 8 years. And so, members, I would encourage you to support this item. Again, it's supported by the CAO and our controller, Laura Chick, and was unanimously approved by the Conventions, Tourism, Entertainment, Small Business Committee, and I would urge an aye vote on this item. Thank you.
Other members wishing to be heard on this item? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Good work, Mr. Ludlow. Next item, please.
Do you wish to take up item 16 now that Councilmember Labange is here?
Mr. Labange, are we ready for item 16?
Thank you, Mr. President, members. This is just an effort to begin a process to have that joint public partnership with a public agency, Los Angeles Unified School District and the City of Los Angeles. As you may or may not realize, Griffith Park is over 4,212 acres, but in that particular park there is no gymnasium to serve the community of Atwater Village, Los Feliz, or Silver Lake. And in trying to preserve the park in the future, I hope to not build a gym in the park, but build it at John Marshall High School so it better could serve the community, both joint use between the City of Los Angeles and the Department of Recreation and Parks and the school district. And Marshall High's gym is absolutely one of the oldest in the city, where their lines are on the gym floor right next to the radiators, as they used to call the heating systems in these old buildings. So it's the start of a process. I just ask for your support and also share with you an opportunity that all of us push that joint public-public partnership that's so important to maximize tax dollars. There's no funding for this at this time. There's no design. It's the start of an idea that we hope to bring to fruition in the months and years to come. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, Tom, for your leadership on this. While you had to step out for a second, there were some Belmont high school students here. They asked me and lobbied me very hard to vote against this because it's John Marshall High School, but it is your 50th birthday, so you can count on my vote.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Other members wishing to be heard on this item? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Item 50 was called special by Councilmember Cardenas, and amending motion 50A has been distributed to all members.
Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Members, this is basically a technical amendment, and I'll read it into the record. It says, number 1, transfer $1 million from UDAG Fund number 356, UDAG Miscellaneous Revenue Fund, to Fund 305, Department 50 as it reads should be corrected, it reads 15. It should be corrected to read 50, new account entitled Sheldon Arlita. And also 50A.
Okay. Colleagues, unless there's an objection, we'll consider item 50 as amended by the technical amendment. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll on item 50 as amended. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Special one has been introduced by Councilmember Garcetti, seconded by Councilmember Villaraigosa, and the City Attorney will speak to the findings.
Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will recite the facts as presented to me by the maker of the motion for the Council's consideration of the adequacy of the findings. Since the posting of today's agenda, Music Cares, one of the partners in the Encore Hall project in the Hollywood redevelopment project area, has abruptly withdrawn from the project, leaving a gap in funding for the project. To make up for this gap, the Housing Department expeditiously must apply for funding through the state's multifamily housing program before the October 8th deadline. Pursuant to the Government Code, Council must first determine whether there is a need to take immediate action and that the need for action came to the attention of Council after the posting of today's agenda. If such a finding is made, Council may then consider the substantive motion.
Thank you. Any members wishing to be heard on the findings? On the findings for Special 1, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Special 1 is now before us. Members wishing to be heard on the motion itself, beginning with Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, I think many of you are familiar when the Music Cares Foundation gave a presentation on a great use of a city-owned parking lot to do an expansion of our parking there in Hollywood, which, don't worry, doesn't come out of anybody's special revenue parking funds. But to expand that, at the same time put housing there and to build it in a way that if we want to expand the parking in the future, we can do that. This is one of the most successful lots in the city, one of the most profitable lots in the city, just south of Hollywood Boulevard on Vine near the Farmers Market, if you know that area. Anyway, the original developer, Music Cares, the Grammy Foundation, there's been a change in leadership there and a kind of change of priorities. The builder, McCormick Baron Salazar, that's here today, is very much committed to the project, and a great nonprofit developer, Gay and Lesbian Elder Housing, is going to take over the project. This simply allows us to apply for the state multifamily housing money that's available. We did a great job last time around getting 25% of all the multifamily housing money in the state, and which is way above the city's population, obviously, as a proportion of the state's population. So I'd ask your support today. This is procedural to allow that to go forward, to apply for that funding, and we can get this back on track. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. Other members wishing to be heard on Special 1? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. Forthwith, please. Next item.
Now would be time for comments from the public on items not on today's council agenda.
And the council calls forward Candido Mares.
Good morning, Mr. President, council members. Tuesday, I was unable to attend the council meeting, but again, I watched it that night. And Councilwoman Hahn asked you to be bold. Councilwoman Hahn, you asked the council to be bold when it came to item 10 on Tuesday's agenda, which is the illegal dumping. And as a community activist, I want to thank you for that, because there's nothing more frustrating than watching individuals dump trash in your community and not being able to do anything. We've been working in the 12th district on Cessnon between Tampa and Reseda for over 2 months trying to get rid of the trash that's being dumped up there. We were able to clear it, and then yesterday morning, there it was again. They dumped 20 bags out there, and so we have to do something serious and take back our community. So again, I thank the council for being bold, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Mares. This concludes public comment for today's meeting. Mr. Clerk, next item, please.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Motion shall be posted and referred.
There are excuses on the desk. Councilmember Cardenas requests to be excused to arrive late on Wednesday, October 29th for city business, meets council policy.
Mr. Cardenas is excused.
Councilmember Smith requests to be excused to arrive at noon on Wednesday, October 15th for city business, that meets council policy.
Mr. Smith is excused.
That clears the desk, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Are there any announcements today? Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have two announcements. The 11th Annual Alzheimer's Association event will be held at the Coliseum. Starts at 7 a.m., ends at noon. It's a 5K walk. It will also have a health expo that will start at 10:15 to noon. Has approximately 100 booths out in and around the USC campus. The next one is at the 9 to 1, the Community Advisory Committee and the Multicultural Advisory Committee will meet for a resource fair for family and children with special needs, and that will be at Crenshaw High at 5010 11th Avenue from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Both of these events are on Saturday, October 4th.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Mr. Garcetti for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the two announcements hardly needs to be announced because I think everybody knows this, not only California but America. But before we convene next, it'll be Election Day, and so all Angelenos should remember next Tuesday to go out and to vote on the special election that is before us, the recall election, and there's two propositions that are before us. A second thing is Yom Kippur starts on sundown on Sunday. Obviously the holiest day of the year, and many Angelenos will be with their families in services throughout the city, so want to commemorate and mark the Day of Atonement, and know that we join with families throughout Los Angeles in marking Yom Kippur. Thank you.
Mr. Labange.
Well, members, I just wanted to say yesterday Councilmember Gruhl and I were in North Hollywood where they had the 35th anniversary of the police athletic leagues and the support for North Hollywood Division. It was a very good luncheon, well attended, and it was almost a year to the date when Chief Bratton, who went to North Hollywood Division when the mayor announced him out there, and it was a very nice luncheon, support for the police athletic league and those programs. And also last night in Mr. Garcetti's district was the Twice a Citizens Award dinner where Judge Harry Pregerson was honored as well as Chief Bratton, other members of the police department, the outstanding reserve officer of the year. I didn't see Mr. Zine or Mr. Smith, but I felt your presence there. I felt your presence there because there's this tremendous video that they did about, that may have been developed under Chief Parks' time, but Gerald McGraney did. I don't know if you remember that video where they recruited the United Airlines. A guy flies a big 747 in, gets out of his pilot's uniform into an LAPD uniform, which I know was long. You do it all the time. But at that luncheon, as I said, I'm at that dinner, by the way, with Judge Pregerson being honored as well. But I just wanted to mention there were several members of the law enforcement community, including two sheriffs who were reservists not just they were regular police officers with the LAPD, but they were reservists for various arms of the armed forces, and they were honored. And I just wanted to all of us to remember the Los Angeles police officers. There's 160 who are still reservists, who are still stationed away from Los Angeles, away from their families, serving this country in the armed forces, be it in Iraq or some were service in Korea, and they all told great stories. So I just wanted to recognize 160 plus, because it also includes firefighters and other city personnel who are reservists, and all reservists from Los Angeles who serve the country in their time of need in the armed forces. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Ludlow.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to echo what Councilmember Garcetti was just referring to, and just to add a couple of other items. I think it's really important that this weekend all Angelenos do what they can to get out and spread the word that there is an election on Tuesday. This is a surprise election in many ways. It's an off-season election. A lot of people don't even know that the election is happening. I am an example of a person whose poll site has moved. We want people to know where their poll sites are. And secondly, just wanted to take a mention, and I know our great city attorney is staring me dead in the eye, so I'm going to watch exactly what I say on these next couple of notes. But people should know that there are two initiatives on the ballot. They both impact government. We want people to be aware of them, look at them, study them, educate yourself, and make sure that you look at 53 and 54. And then finally, I was in Florida during the presidential election of 2000, and I can tell you that many Americans in Florida could not believe the fact that they did not go and vote, and the presidential election was decided on less than 600 votes. Doesn't matter which side of the aisle I was on or which side of the aisle you were on. 600 votes, less than 600 votes decided the presidency of the United States of America. The world is watching us on this ballot. The world is watching to see what happens in California. So please, get out and vote on Tuesday. Please spend this weekend making sure that everybody in your neighborhood knows there is an election on Tuesday.
Mr. Dudlow? Mr. Dudlow.
Martin.
The point is every vote counts. Ms. Miskowski.
Including the vote of the Supreme Court and the federal court and all those courts. We want to make sure that we get our courts out to vote on Wednesday.
Ms. Miskowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to invite all the members of the public tomorrow in and around the Westchester community to come by to the Westchester Community Room at Manchester and Lincoln. All day long there's going to be something called the Sepulveda Boulevard Charrette. And that community had been very concerned about a very significant widening that was going to occur through Sepulveda Boulevard. They feared that it was going to have adverse consequences. City Council supported them to pull back any expansion at this time and instead work with the community to come up with designs, to come up with things that will both help facilitate traffic through the area but also preserve with other kind of community designs the kind of heart of Westchester that Sepulveda Boulevard represents, particularly in the business district. So come out tomorrow, 10 o'clock to 4, Sepulveda Boulevard Charrette, and put your input as to how you want that boulevard designed for your community.
Other announcements? Other announcements? If not, do we have adjourning tributes today? Please rise for adjourning motions. Ms. Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask all of my colleagues to adjourn our meeting today in the honor of Roger Page. This was such a sad thing that happened to San Pedro over the weekend. Roger was 71 years old and just one of those great active community members, and was killed in an automobile accident coming home from a trip. And it just has devastated the community. Roger just was one of those who loved the community, loved the city, loved open space, but really never sat on the sidelines. He was one of the first members of the Coastal San Pedro Neighborhood Council. He was a delegate to the Port Community Advisory Committee, which the mayor set up to help advise the Port of Los Angeles on issues that impact the community. And my office had worked with him closely to dedicate and preserve the 102 acres, which was called White Point Nature Preserve. He was very active with the Palos Verdes Peninsula Land Conservancy. And just last Saturday, we dedicated the White Point Preserve. We had an official dedication, and I was able to actually honor Roger and present him with a certificate thanking him for his help in preserving really what is going to be an incredible open space preserve for generations to come. So he just is going to be sorely missed. He leaves his wife, Barbara, 3 daughters, Sherry, Sandy, and Stacy, a brother, Herschel, and 2 sisters, both who live in Corona. The visiting hours are 3 to 7 at Green Hills Mortuary, and the services are scheduled for 1 p.m. Saturday, that's tomorrow, at Green Hills, with a public reception. When Roger would love this, there's going to be a public reception at the newly opened White Point Nature Preserve. He will be missed, but he never wasted one day of his life to get involved and really make a difference about the things he really cared about.
Mr. Labange.
Yeah, thank you, members. I'd like to ask that we adjourn in memory today of Ernestine Freeman, who passed. She was a former Los Angeles City employee and worked for the Los Angeles Police Department. She was married for over 34 years to retired Los Angeles police officer Stan Freeman. They leave 1 daughter, Edie, and she was much loved by her family and friends, and ask that we adjourn in her memory, Ernestine Freeman.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd ask that we adjourn in honor of Charles Byrd, who was the first African-American ever elected sheriff in the state of California. He's elected in 1986 and served 4 terms as a sheriff and coroner of Siskiyou County. He was born and raised in Weed, California, played his high school football, attended college in Siskiyou. He had planned to become a civil engineer, but plans changed when the chief of police of his city asked him to become a reserve, which he did, and later he joined the department full-time. He later was elected as the sheriff. He died at the age of 56 on Friday, September the 26th. His services will be held in Weed, California at 11 a.m. Saturday, October the 4th. He leaves his mother, Eddie Byrd, and several brothers and sisters.
Mr. Smith.
Thank you. Members of council, I ask we adjourn in the name of Michael Paul Domelon. Michael was a carpenter, 21 years old, working on our new Chatsworth Library project. On September 18th, at age 21 years old, he decided not to get into a fight with somebody and walked away from an argument, was shot 6 times in the back. It's truly unfortunate. He was a good man. He loved music. He loved athletics, and he's survived by his father, Melvin, his mother, Karen, sisters, Nicole, and Mandy.
Mr. Villaraigosa.
Mr. President, members, I'd like to rise an adjourning motion for Peter Moraga, a friend, a veteran Los Angeles newsman for KNX Radio and KMEX Television. He was 77 years old. Many of you know that Pete was born in Tempe, Arizona, and studied advertising at the University of Arizona, and began his career in Phoenix. He spent many years in the media, both at KNX and KMEX, since about 1969. In 1989, he and his family were honored as Hispanic Family of the Year for their work, and we are going to miss him dearly. And he's survived by his wife, Gloria, his son, Peter Jr., his 3 daughters, Linda, Gloria, and Monica, and his 13 grandchildren. Thank you.
If I can just add a little bit to that, Mr. Moraga was certainly a pioneer for Latinos in broadcasting and news coverage. His stint at KMEX, the Univision affiliate, now Spanish language television, was not his first assignment. It came sort of in the middle of his career. He established himself as a well-respected and noted journalist, period, who happened to be Latino and paved the way for many Latinos to follow, working in radio, working in television, working in newsprint in Los Angeles and other major markets throughout the country. Other tributes? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Thank you all very much. This meeting is adjourned.